Welcome back to another Donkcast. Unfortunately, it's just two of us today, so it'll be a little different than what you're used to. But hey, we're going to have fun with it and see how it goes. So everybody, say hi, Ian.
Hi guys.
How you been? Anyway,
I'm good, man. How are you?
yeah, good. Same rubbish, different day. Work, sleep, eat, repeat.
V-
I guess.
Very, very true. Play
But
Pokemon.
but pre-release at the weekend,
Indeed. Pre-release was a lot of fun.
yeah, it was good. Although it has to be said, we did get beat by one person.
We did.
Which was slightly disgusting. But he won. He won both days. He came back and held his title on the Sunday as well. So hats off to Dickie.
It's that mad pre-release luck, man. That's what it is.
To be fair, on the
I,
Sunday
I'd
though,
like to see him run the table in a standard format. Challenge, challenge is thrown out there, Dickie. If you're listening, bring it on.
to be fair, he didn't actually beat me on Sunday. I beat him, but we ended up with the same record. But somehow he still managed to get first place. I don't know how that happened. I think his
Pre-release luck.
his game win percentage was slightly higher than mine. But
Ridiculous.
I know exactly. But I still had fun. Pulled absolutely nothing though. What about yourself?
Mhm. Well, I was only there the Saturday. Obviously, you were there both days. And I pulled the Secret Rare Electro Power and a Full Art Suicune GX. Um,
Nice. Okay.
yeah, I mean, they are very nice cards. The art in Suicune's absolutely beautiful. But as you know, I don't play with gold cards or anything like that. So
Mhm.
it's literally just for trade or for sale
Mhm.
so that I can turn it into the GX cards that I want, like Sceptile, for example. So it's awesome to pull those things. But if it was a choice between a Secret Rare Electro Power and a half art Sceptile, I would have taken the Sceptile every time.
Right. Okay. I know you got quite a lot of trades done as well after we played. Did you get at least some stuff that you wanted?
Yeah, I got some bits and pieces, man. I managed to pick up the Baby Nihilego, which
Nice.
is pretty good. So he'll be going into Buzzgarb, Shrine, Weavile, figuring out how to squeeze him in. But I managed to get some bits and pieces. It's really just staples that we're going after at this point. As kind of we were joking about afterwards, just trading jank. That's pretty much what we were doing.
Yeah. What I did notice was there wasn't very much Coffee at all.
I pulled one,
Right. Okay.
and I didn't see anybody else with them. But I really like coffee grease, man. I'm hoping to see some more of those floating about so I can pick them up.
Well, I did get a Giratina, so
Hey,
if I can't get anything else, then I'm sure I can sort of trade out with you. Because then you're at
definitely.
least sort of halfway there to your Coffee
Yeah,
Giratina deck.
definitely.
Um. Okay, so did you see that there's a new tag team card?
Well, let's just kind of slow down a bit here. There's a new tag team card on the side of a van.
But it's
So,
still, if it's on the van, there's printed pictures, then it must be true.
well, let's not go as far as it must be true. But to be fair, it is an official Pokemon Company van, and it's with two other cards on its side that we know are coming, and on the other side of the van, three cards that we know are coming as well. So it is looking good, and I know you're pretty excited about this one.
Well, yeah, of course, it's Snorlax.
Snorlax Eevee Tag Team GX.
Oh, well, yeah, true. But still,
And
Snorlax, big mad man.
it's not, and really that's all we know at the minute, isn't it? That there's a Snorlax Eevee Tag Team GX that has 270 HP.
Yes.
I
Um.
mean, 270 HP on a basic is disgusting.
Well, to be fair, it's only 30 more than the Pikachu Zekrom, and to be fair, both of them are weak to fighting, so could easy one shot that surely.
It is true, yeah, but like Snorlax and Eevee doesn't even die to a sledgehammer.
Oh
You know what
yeah,
I mean? You
okay.
need to have a Diancie in play or you need to have a choice band, which okay, more often than not you're gonna have. But it's just the fact that it's that bloody powerful, it can tank a 240 hit.
Well, yeah, that's true. That's true. I think what's making me more excited is the fact that the first attack you can't actually see the energy cost on it, so it looks like it might be a one energy. I obviously don't know what it does, but it's a one
Mm-hmm.
energy attack of some sort. But no,
Could be interesting.
I'm just so excited. There's another Snorlax card coming.
I don't think it really matters what it does. You're going to try and play it.
Of course. do
It'd
you
be
do you
like
know
if they
me?
released Butterfree GX, it doesn't matter how bad it is, I would try and play it.
Exactly.
You know what
Exactly.
I mean? So I totally get it. And the fact that it's colourless as well also fulfills the thing I've been harping on about, which is a tag team GX you can Kiawe onto. So
Damn it,
that that
Ian!
that
You beat me to
yep. So that deck that you used to play back in the day, Snorlax, Kiawe,
yeah.
it's in a roundabout way, it's kind of coming back.
We'll see what it does. We'll see. It's probably like 120 plus. I don't know. You go to sleep or something. Sleep
Aye,
until 3 turns. It'll be something really bad. But hey, I'll like you said, I'll definitely be trying it.
something fun.
Yeah. So you had mentioned the new evolutions cards coming out. Do you want to tell me a bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So speaking of Eevee, we've had Eevee GX and Flareon, Jolteon, and Vaporeon GX all revealed
Hmm.
over the past kind of week or so, past few days. So we'll start off with Eevee, 160 HP, which is pretty low for a basic GX to begin with. You think like Marshadow's 150, but Marshadow's a lot better than this,
Hmm.
as we'll hear in a wee minute. Of course, it's weak to fighting because it's a normal type, so that in itself is a big issue. You're looking at 160 HP, so a baby Buzz with a choice band and a Diancie on the bench is going to one shot this. Never mind having a sledgehammer turn; it just does it for the 30 plus the damage modifiers.
Hmm.
So it's a pretty weak card to begin with, and the attacks and the ability don't really make it any better. So you're getting 100 damage with a boost dash for 3 colorless energy. You're not hitting anything for weakness because you're a colorless Pokemon. So it's a vanilla 100 damage for 3 colorless. Not exactly great. The GX attack costs a single colorless and it's Happy Maker GX. At least that's what this translation says it is. It's come from Pokebeach. And it's Hollow Hunt and it's, I want to say Shadow Hunt is the name of it on Banette GX. I can't remember the exact name of it,
Hmm.
but it's put 3 cards from your discard pile into your hand. It's
Hmm.
just the same as the Decidueye and Banette, which is a perfectly nice GX attack, but it's nothing revolutionary, nothing special.
Yeah.
And obviously, with a card like Eevee, you would be expecting a kind of an evolution effect of some description, and we have got that. It's just a pity that it sucks. So it's called Reviving DNA, and once during your turn, if you have a card that evolves from Eevee in your hand, you can play it on top of this Pokemon to evolve it, excluding your first turn or the turn this Pokemon comes into play. If you do, heal all damage from this Pokemon. So essentially, Eevee takes a hit, you evolve from hand, and it gives you a totally fresh GX with no damage on it the following turn.
Well, see, this is a question that I want to sort of bring to you as a judge, if you like.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we haven't had any evolution GXs at the moment, like the whole sort of remember the whole EX Mega EX thing, where you
Mm-hmm.
could evolve from an EX. We've
Mm-hmm.
never had a GX that evolves from another GX,
Mm-hmm.
but also if you look at Jolteon and Vaporeon, it evolves from Eevee.
Yep.
It doesn't evolve from Eevee GX.
That's exactly right. So there is literally no reason to play this card, um, especially when we have Sun and Moon Energy Evolution ability Eevee in the format, which is you attach a basic energy to it, you search your deck for the evolution Pokemon and put it on top of it right away,
Yeah,
and that can be done on your first turn of the game,
yeah.
which this one can't, because it just evolves like a normal evolution Pokemon.
But this is the thing. I don't know if it will be able to evolve because it's EVGX. It needs to evolve from the Pokemon specifically.
But the wording of the ability says if you have a card that evolves from Eevee in your hand, not EVGX. So
Yeah,
Jolteon evolves
true.
from Eevee. Therefore, because it's not a direct evolution, it's not you couldn't put down EVGX then the next turn evolve it into Jolteon without using the ability. So if Garbotoxin was in effect, for example, you couldn't make that into
Ah,
Jolteon.
right.
Um,
Okay.
So it's really poor, and I mean I don't know what the right thing to do with this card would have been, but I was hoping for something a lot better than this.
Yeah. Yeah,
And it
there's just something about it. I can't quite get my head around, and I do agree with you. I feel like it could have been so much better. Like you're expecting it to blow you away,
mhm.
and it just doesn't.
And as you were saying, like we don't have GXs that evolve, and it doesn't look like that's going to be a thing because whenever you think about something like Incineroar GX, for example, it's obviously the stage 2. You're not going to get Litten GX.
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose they could do something really weird like that, but it'd be very, very unexpected. And this was the opportunity to have some kind of cool interaction with that potentially, and they just seem to have bypassed it. It's it's just not a very good card, and I don't really see it getting any play. It's too fragile. It's weak to fighting. So you get Buzzwole running around, Lycanroc running around. The ability just isn't worth it. You're quicker using the Sun and Moon
Yeah.
Energy Evolution one. The attacks aren't really worth playing it. It's just a shame that a card that I think kind of heading up to its release, had a lot of potential and a lot of cool ideas people had about it, and it's just disappointing.
Yeah.
Um, the other three evolutions, Flareon, Jolteon, Vaporeon, two of them I think are pretty good. Vaporeon's the weakest of the three,
Mhm.
in my opinion, and he reads Vapor Drops is the name of his ability. He's got 210 HP. He's obviously a stage 1 that evolves from Eevee. Once during your turn, before you attack, you may heal 30 damage from your active water Pokemon. It's fine, I guess, but it's not exactly great. It's a free potion,
Yeah.
essentially, for an active water Pokemon. Okay, it's nothing amazing. Hydro Pump is his attack, which does 40 plus damage. It costs 3 colors to use, but it does 30 more damage for each water energy attached to the Pokemon. So you need 3 energy on it to use it. Assume that's 3 water energy. It's hitting for 130,
Yeah.
which is reasonable, I suppose, but it's for 3 energy. You have to commit a lot of energy to it to get it to do any major damage. And you're probably going to play it with Quagsire
Mhm.
to move the energy. Well, Quagsire has basically the same attack. I think his reads it's 30 damage plus 20 for each water or something along those lines. It's slightly weaker in terms of the damage output, but he is a non GX attacker as well.
Mhm.
And then Vaporeon's GX attack for a single water energy, Healing Shower GX, heal all damage from each of your water Pokemon in play, which again is nice in certain circumstances, but it's not really something that you're going to rely on every game. I mean,
Yeah. No, I,
it's something like
I see what you mean. I think with that, it could potentially work in a all water deck, right? You're quite damaged. You've got obviously damage throughout the board. You slap down your Sun and Moon Eevee, put on an energy, find your Vaporeon, and then use the GX attack that move and heal everything. So I feel like that's all it would be good for.
I mean, yeah, it could be used for that. It could also be a bench sitter to heal 30 damage here and there, but how often is healing 30 damage really going to save you?
It's
You know what I mean?
Yeah, especially if you're not using it for its attack. It's different if
Hmm.
you've got the potential to use it, but if you're avoiding attaching to it because its attack's rubbish, then what is the point?
Yeah, I don't think it's very good, and it's a shame because Vaporeon, in some ways, is the strongest of the original three evolutions.
Hmm.
So it's a shame that he ended up with the weakest card, but I guess it's nice to give the other two a chance to shine.
Yeah.
Um, Speaking of which, we've got Jolteon GX, who obviously stage 1 evolves from Eevee. He only has 200 HP, so he's 10 less HP than Vaporeon, which can be significant for hitting numbers and things like that for your opponent. But he's got much better attacks. So his first attack is Bullet or Electric Bullet, which does 30 damage to the active and 30 damage to one opponent's bench Pokemon. So for a single lightning energy, it's Jet Punch. It's the exact same attack that Buzzwole has.
Yeah.
And everybody knows how good that attack is. Okay, Buzzwole's a fighting type and it's one shot and Zoroas and things like that. So maybe the typing makes the attack slightly less effective, but spreading damage is always good. For a lightning colourless, Head Volt does 110 damage, so 110 for 2 energy is pretty good. And his GX attack also costs 2 energy, lightning colourless. Speedrun GX does 110 damage and prevents all effective attacks, including damage done to this Pokemon during your opponent's next turn. So it's the same as Dawnwing's Necrozma's GX attack,
Yeah.
which gives it immunity. It just does considerably less damage, but it also costs 1 energy less. On the surface, it's a pretty decent Pokemon. It's got some nice attacks. It can do reasonably big damage, but where it gets really powerful is when you start thinking the electric support we're getting in the format. So if you go in second, you start your Sun and Moon Energy Evolution Eevee, you attach the lightning energy to it, evolve it up into this guy, and then you drop Thunder Mountain Stadium, which puts down the cost of electric Pokemon's attacks by a colourless, I believe it is. That means that every attack on this costs 1 lightning. So you're hitting on turn 1 of the game 110 damage for a single lightning.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty scary, especially when you think about Choice Band, which would put it up. And also, speaking of electric support, Electro Power, which is just Choice Band, but it's an item. So you use it once and you do an extra 30, use 2, you do an extra 60. So the damage can add up super, super quickly on this thing.
Yeah.
And I think it's pretty cool because of that. Obviously, being electric, it has a fighting weakness, which is a concern when you've got Buzzwole running around. But Zoroark has a fighting weakness, and that still sees a ton of play. So I don't think that makes it unplayable by any stretch. As a nice wee bonus, it also is free retreat, which is always good. I think it's a really interesting card. I do really like it.
It is, like you said, it is good. It's like Buzzwole with the first attack, but I think what would potentially make it better was if it wasn't a stage 1. Like, see, if you could just put it down and attack, then great. Obviously, I know you've got your Sun and Moon Energy Evolution, right? But that's the only difference, is that it's a stage 1. So you're having to run 4 Eevee for that. Or, do you know what I mean? Like, you're having to run
Yeah,
an extra card to run it. Which I think is what is putting me off it a little bit.
yeah, I get what you're saying, but at the same time, Buzzwole doesn't have access to something like Thunder Mountain. So,
True.
but
True.
for Buzzwole to do Knuckle Impact, you need 3 energy on it. So if you haven't had a Beast Ring turn, that's 3 manual attachments.
No, okay, fair enough. No,
So
that's
I think it can outspeed things. I think that's where the strength of it's going to come in.
right. Okay, so not necessarily the damage, but more the speed.
Yeah, I think, and it is a stage 1, you're right, but because of Eevee's ability, it's kind of not a stage 1.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as you bench the Energy Evolution Eevee, you have access to this as long as you find an energy. So it's more like, you play Nest Ball to get Eevee
Mm-hmm.
to actually get this.
Yeah.
Whereas if it's another stage 1 Pokemon, you play Nest Ball to get the basic and then have to wait a turn. So there is, I think, there's a bit more flexibility in it in that sense. I mean, I'm not going to rush out and buy 4 of these necessarily, but I do think it's got a lot of potential.
No, okay.
And then the final one, Flareon GX, and this is, I think, the best of the 3. And I know that John was quite underwhelmed by these 3 when he saw them initially. But I kind of thought Flareon has had potential from the start. So again, obviously it's a stage 1 and it evolves from Eevee, we know that. It's 210 HP, so the same as Vaporeon. Its first attack for a fire energy called Heat Stage does 30 damage. You can attach up to 3 fire energy from your hand to your Pokemon in any way you like. Its second attack is Fire Colorless. Bright Flame does 190 damage, discard 2 fire energy. And its GX attack is Power Burn GX for a single fire, which does 20 damage times the number of fire energy in your discard pile. I think this is really good.
Oh yeah, I definitely would agree with you on that. I do
Like
like this one.
If you go second and you start your Eevee, you evolve up into this. On turn 1 of the game, you end having attached 4 energy. And we have things like Lady, or what you would prefer to play, obviously, is Fiery Flint, so that you can use your raw support on your opening turn. It also negates Kiawe to some extent, if you can play around it in this way. So you're not missing the turn of attacking, because you're also getting 30 damage here, which is not something to be sniffed at. And it's hitting for weakness as well. So something like a 60 HP Beldum, for example, would go down. Or maybe like a Fomantis if people are playing Promo Lorantis, that kind of thing. That there's things here that it could knock out.
Mm-hmm.
But even getting the 30 damage on the board's a good start. But the 3 energy I think is terrific. And then its second attack, it costs 3 energy. Okay, you're discarding 2 fire, which isn't ideal, but it's doing 190 damage for 3.
Yeah.
Like Turtonator has a very similar attack. Turtonator's discard 1 energy, but he's doing 160. So, for the same amount of energy, okay, the discard's more severe, but it's still pretty good. And you can use the first attack to set up more of these on the bench. So if you can get a couple of attacks off of that first attack and you've got a few of these guys on the bench, you're ready to go. You can put them on Turtonator, you can put them on Reshiram or Ho, any of these guys if you wanted to.
Yeah, if you're willing to just sort of hold back and
Yeah,
to give
just
yourself
use
some
it as a
time.
setup Pokemon.
Yeah.
Rather than the main attacker, although I think he's great as a main attacker as well. I really do like him.
Yeah, no, I think out of the 3, I'm definitely loving the Flareon the most.
I'm definitely with you. I think just ending your first turn with 4 energy on the board, that it just puts so much pressure on your opponent. They have to find a way to respond.
Yeah, and especially with it saying you can do it any way you like. So you don't even
Hmm
need to put them all, like you said, you don't need to put them all on Flareon. You can put them on
hmm
something on your bench, or you can put, say, one on Flareon and one on the bench, or you can do whatever. I think the only downside is making sure you've got that 3 energy in your hand to begin
hmm
with.
Definitely. And that is, it's a bit of an issue, but if you're playing Fiery Flint, then hopefully that gives you the outs to it. You're obviously going to play a high energy count in this deck so that you're getting them when you need them as well, and hopefully use Fiery Flint as a way to kind of thin out to a degree. But I do think it's really interesting. I'm not sure if the best way to play it is just 4 Eevee, 4 Flareon, set them up on the bench, or if it is better to pair it with something like a Turtonator or a Reshiram, Ho,
Mm.
whatever.
Mm-hmm.
The one card that I do think you probably want to be playing in it is Victini Prism.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
definitely.
so you can use his GX attack 20 times the number of fire energy in this card. Well, your first attack's discarding the energy anyway. So ramp that up, use the GX attack for big damage, and then Victini does literally the same thing, except shuffles the energy back in.
Yeah.
So you can then find it again, sort of thing. I think there's a lot of kind of flexibility with it. Plus, we're getting things like Heat Factory,
Mm-hmm.
the Prism Star Stadium, discard a fire energy, draw 3. So fire's getting a bit of support and a bit of love there as well.
Nice.
It's just I think it could be really good. I'm not sure of the right way to play it, as I say, but I think it's got potential.
So the fiery flint,
Mhm.
was that in the new set Lost Thunder, or is that coming out yet?
That was in Dragon Majesty.
All right,
So
okay.
that's discard. It's Ultra Ball, discard 2, but instead of finding a Pokemon, you find 4 fire energy and put them into your hand.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Um, so it goes quite nicely with Reshiram. So if you can Kiawe onto Reshiram turn 1 and then turn 2 Fiery Flint to find the energy, use Reshiram's GX attack and attach it to set up to Ho or another Reshiram or whatever it is that you're using it with.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of one way to play it. But with this guy, it's obviously a bit of flexibility in there. I mean, maybe you do play a mixture of this and Kiawe onto Reshiram if you can't get the Eevee out in the first turn or whatever. I don't know. I don't know what the right method is, but it's just good to see there's some interesting fire attackers coming around. I mean, maybe Salazzle makes a reappearance with this guy.
Oh yeah, because that's only a 2 energy attacker as well.
Yeah, so you're using his first attack and you're setting up multiple Salazzle. There's, I mean, even colourless Pokemon, if you want to go down the Snorlax route, there's a potential there as well. I think it's just a really interesting card, and I do anything that accelerates energy that quickly has to be at least worth considering.
Yeah,
Um,
but
so a
no,
bit of a
that's
mixed bag for the evolutions, but I think we're getting at least 2 cards that are pretty good and could make some kind of impact.
It'd definitely be interesting to see.
Hmm. We had a new card release that I only saw this today. I think it was just today that it was actually revealed, and it's Battle Chatelaine Morgan. So the card's called Morgan. It's a supporter card, and it's got a really interesting effect, a really interesting condition to play it. Something that I haven't seen before. So as I said, it's a supporter, and it reads that it can't be played unless you discard Nita, Evelyn, and Dana from your hand. So this is the 4 Battle Chatelaine women. Now, I'm not as familiar with the middle games as other people are. John would know straight away who these people are from the video game side of things. I don't recognise the names, so I probably mispronounced them. Um, and John will tell me that they were in Gen 1, and I'll go, oh, yeah, of course I remember that, and totally kick myself. But my immediate thought is that they're from maybe Gen 4 or 5, one of the ones that I'm less familiar with.
Right, okay.
Um, so, but I might be wrong, and I'm sure John will correct us on the next podcast or whatever. Anyway, but it's not important where they come from. What's important is the effect. So, the card itself tells you to look at the top 12 cards of your deck, top 12 cards, and attach as many energy cards you find there to your Pokemon in any way you like. Then shuffle the remaining cards into your deck. So it's insane that you get to look at 12 cards and get as many energy out as you like. So something like Blacephalon, for example, which discards tons of energy to attack. John sent us that picture of this with the old Jirachi EX. You know, like thinking of an expanded deck to find this card and the other supporters to discard them, and then Guzzlord. So, you know, even in standard, there might be a way that you could figure out and attach it onto a Guzzlord, or you might be able to find a way to attach a load of energy onto a Pikachu and Zekrom GX. I don't know. It's such an awkward card to use, but the payoff could be amazing. And it leads me to think that if this is one of these battle women, that the other 3 must do something similar. In terms of the cost. So the Nita card, for example, will tell you to discard Evelyn, Dana, and Morgan. The Evelyn one will tell you to discard the other 3, and so on and so forth. And they'll all do
Yeah.
something quite powerful like this.
Yeah, and it'll just
Um,
depend on what it is that you need for that particular deck.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, is this going to be hyper competitive, super viable? I really don't know.
I
Um,
I honestly, because excuse me, I don't think so. Only for the sheer fact that there is such a high cost. Essentially, you have to
yeah,
have
it's
four
tough.
cards at one time.
Mm,
What happens if one of them's prized? So do you run a 1-1-1-1, or do you run
mm,
like a 2 line? But then if you run a 2 line,
mm-hmm,
that's 8 cards that you can
exactly.
technically only get 2 abilities from, or 2 uses
Mm-hmm.
from.
I mean, if your strategy is based around one of these cards, I think you have to go all in on it.
Yeah.
So, you know, the deck would probably play something like 4 Tapu Lele, 2 of each of these, you know, and then a whole bunch of energy, obviously, if you're going to use this one. And
Mhm.
then maybe something like Pikachu Zekrom. So you want to get 4 Lele, 2 Pikachu Zekrom, and then hit a whole bunch of energy to accelerate onto those guys. Maybe it's something like that, but trying to find 4 Lele and have all these cards in your hand at the one time and have a huge amount of energy in the deck sounds so difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like the kind of thing that Al would go, I'm going to try that. And it'll brick over and over again. And then the one time it works is when he's playing me and he pulls it off and he absolutely trashes me in like turn 4 of the game because this one janky strategy that he came up with has worked this one time.
And all 12 cards are energies.
Exactly. It's insane, but I find it really interesting just the dynamic that you have to discard the other cards because the only card that I can really think of that's even close to this is something like Puzzle of Time, where you play 2 and you get them back out the discard, or the new one that's coming out in Lost Thunder that you play 2 and it gives you a Lysander, or you play 1 to draw 3. And there's another one that does something to do with healing as well, but that one's rubbish. What's the good one called? Is it counter something or counter gain? Is it something like that? Or is that the tool?
No, that's the tool.
Is that the tool?
Um,
I
I
can't remember
pulled
the name
one.
of it.
I did pull one, and I can't for the life of me remember what it was called.
But like
Um,
it's that sort of effect that play 2 and it does something more powerful than playing 1. Well, this is essentially play these 4 supporters together to get this effect.
um,
You know what I mean? And it's a really cool dynamic. I like it.
but are
But
they asking
it's
too much though? Are they asking too much
well,
for one thing?
I think they probably are to make this like really competitively viable. Someone may well break it, and maybe I'll be totally wrong, but I think just that trying to have all of these in your hand at the one time makes it so difficult to actually get it to work. But just this idea, this dynamic, this kind of way of making cards interact, I think is really interesting.
I guess
Um,
you could use it in some sort of Zoroark deck because you're discarding to draw two. So I mean, with a bit of luck, if you're playing more than one of each of these, then yeah, okay. But
I mean, potentially you're going down the route then of saying, so I'm going to play Zoroark, and then maybe I'll play my cargo as well, so that I can know I'm going to draw into one of them, and I'll stack with my cargo, and then you're getting yourself to the stage of, well, what's the point in actually playing the card?
yeah, that's
You know what I
true.
mean? Just play a Zoroark Macargo deck.
Yeah,
I think for this one in particular, the energy, the hyper energy acceleration has to go in something that really benefits from it, like Guzzlord or like Zekrom Pikachu.
hmm,
Um, I mean, you could maybe try and use those kind of cards to support it, but then that's other cards you need to put in the deck in place of energy. What if you draw into a ton of energy as you're doing it? It's maybe one of the other ones will have an effect that really benefits Zoroark or
yeah.
or a card like that. I don't know, but for this one specifically, I think you need to play it with something that really wants a lot of energy. And I just don't know. I
Don't know
don't know if
what.
it's competitively viable, but
Yeah,
I think it's a really interesting idea, and hopefully they kind of maybe do more things like this, or they kind of more interactions with the cards in these kind of ways, or have this card and do this. Like one of the things that I really loved a few sets ago, and it'd been Ultra Prism, was Garchomp. His attack did more damage Royal Blades when you played Cynthia.
yeah.
Like those kind of cool wee interactions, I think are really nice, and to see something like this is pretty cool. Mhm. But yeah, that's pretty much all I can really say about that card, to be honest.
The
So
the artwork looks awesome though. If
it's a
nothing
full
else.
art that they've got on Poke Beach. I mean, all of this stuff's coming from Poke Beach, by the way, the translations and all that kind of stuff. So the art is beautiful. That's very true. And they've got a lovely full art version up there as well. So I guess the kind of the last thing we need to turn our attention to is this coming weekend, because it's pre-release week 2 coming up.
Yeah, and I'm actually really looking forward to it. I'm hoping it's going to be quite busy on Sunday.
I hope so too. Yeah, the more people, the better. Obviously, I think as well, like going into the second weekend, you've kind of got a little bit of a feel for it the previous weekend, and you've pulled some cards, so you're thinking, "Oh, I'm looking for this," and you maybe get deck ideas. I mean, like in yourself, you tend to go into pre-releases sort of blind, don't you? Like you don't like looking up the cards beforehand too much and all that
Yeah,
kind of stuff.
yeah, I like to have
Um,
a nice wee surprise if you like.
so, like, what did you play this weekend past last weekend, and what did you enjoy? What are you looking to do?
Okay, so both my evolution pack things, like the supply one,
Mm-hmm.
were both the same. So it was the Ampharos with Primarina.
Okay, I had Ampharos in mine on the Saturday,
Yeah.
and I love Ampharos, so I was super happy to play him.
I did quite well with it on the Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed playing it, but it was John described it as quite a colourful deck because like I had the Ampharos, I had the Primarina, and I also had the Lavatar that does 20 um oh God,
The
what's
one that it does 70 more damage if it's the
it?
opponents get damage count, 3 or more damage counters on it. Is it
Yes,
that?
that's the one. That's the one.
Yeah.
And I had a couple of other wee cards. I had Ho-Oh in it as well, which did more damage for each basic energy you had on it. And I was playing three
Hmm.
different types of energy, so it seemed to be um a no brainer to chuck it in. Because if I've got spare
Hmm.
energy in hand, then I can stick it on that. Um,
Yeah.
but then on Sunday, again, I got the Primarina and the Ampharos, but I actually ended up playing a complete water deck with just Primarina, um, with Onyx, a single Onyx in it.
The one that
Uh,
you attach 4 energy to do 120 damage.
yes.
Yeah.
Um, so basically, what I was doing was, I think I had Mantine in it as well, and something else, I can't remember. It was just one of. So between Primarina, Mantine, and then the Onyx was my sort of heavy hitter. Sort of last minute, once I had at least a Primarina out, that was when I could put him down because then it's obviously two different attachments and you're already ready to go. Um,
Yeah.
and I definitely felt that deck played a lot better than the Primarina Ampharos. Um,
Well, Primary and Ampharos, you're trying to set up 2 stage 2 lines. It's never easy to do that, even in pre-release,
yeah,
or especially in pre-release, perhaps when you don't have rare candies and things.
well, exactly. But interestingly enough, in both packs, I didn't get a single nest ball. Um,
Oh,
so
interesting.
yeah, no, I know I'd got a couple of timer balls, but no nest balls. Um, so that's the only thing I didn't like about it. But yeah, the full water deck, it was definitely a lot more consistent and it seemed to flow a lot better than the one on Saturday. So
Cool.
possibly if I get Primarina again, then yeah, unfortunately you're seeing Primarina again.
You love Primarina.
Well, no, I love the Primarina GX. I feel like this one,
Mhm.
80 damage and a sleep, it's not enough. For a stage 2, you
No,
want it to punch and you want it to punch hard. This isn't
yeah.
hard. Um,
I mean, 80 damage and sleep isn't bad in pre-release, I suppose, but it's never going to be a card that's going to be competitively valuable.
no, absolutely not. If it
Um,
was a basic with that, then maybe I could argue its usefulness, but not as a stage 2. Like you said, too much is needed. You obviously your evolution line plus potentially rare candy as well. It's
mm,
it's a liability more than anything, I feel.
fair enough. What about like moving forward? So obviously the set's going to release Friday, the first Friday of November, and things like that. So, what decks, having now seen some of the cards and things like that, are you actually looking to play, or looking to add cards into existing decks from Lost Thunder? Have you any ideas?
Um, I have a couple of ideas for potential fire decks. Um, I saw a couple of cards that I quite liked. The issue was the cards that I saw that I liked weren't my cards; they were other people's cards. So it was hard to try and imagine it in a deck, if you like.
Hmm.
Um, I feel like I pulled absolutely nothing, if I'm being honest. Like I went through a lot of the cards, and I don't know if I'll even play any of them.
That's
Um,
a shame.
I know, but do you know what? You go for the fun. You go for the
Yeah, it's the
experience.
luck of the draw sometimes, isn't it? So
um,
what fire are you looking at? Like Macargo GX, that kind of thing?
yeah, I'm definitely liking McCargo. I know when we talked about it during the video, I had said that I'd potentially prefer McCargo over Blacephalon.
Hmm.
Um, After seeing it and seeing it play, it sort of spurred me on to try it and make it a bit better than what people expect it to be, if that makes sense.
I mean, it's been really good in Japan, to be fair. It's no, I don't think anybody's saying Macargo's a bad card by any stretch. Maybe just not as good as some of the other things we've got. I don't know, but definitely if that's what you want to play, then go for it.
Yeah. I do genuinely really, really, really want to try Zero Aura as well. Like
Yeah, I think he's a lot of fun.
I think it could definitely change the way you play, and how well, I suppose there's a lot, obviously the Thunder Mountain stuff, it's got a lot of
Hmm.
support. So I
Yeah,
don't know if it it puts you into a false sense of security of how good the card is because it's got all that support. Um Like, does that make sense? Like, is the card itself good, or is it good because of the support?
I think he's good. I mean, his ability is really good. The whole free retreat thing, and the attack. It's the same attack as Buzzball and Lapras. It's a powerful attack. When you can use it for two, it's even better. The GX attack is Turtonator's GX attack, so you can set up multiple Zeraoras or multiple of whatever else you're playing it with. I do think it's a really good card. And Thunder Mountain, obviously, you've got Lycia to search out Prism Stars, so you can find that. And if there's other Prism Stars you're playing in the deck, you can find them as well, obviously. So I do think there's. I really like Zeraora. This is the problem I'm running into with this set, to be honest. There are so many things that I'm going, I really like that, I want to try that.
Yeah, and
There's like,
you can only play one deck at a time, so it's like, right,
exactly.
pick
There's
some.
like 10 decks at least that I'm thinking, right, I'm all in on. I've already built Shuckle Alone Executor,
Hmm.
which obviously isn't fully Lost Thunder, but Shuckle makes Alone Executor so much better. And I've been kind of messing around with that, and I've been really enjoying kind of doing some test hands with it and stuff like that, and trying to figure out the list. And I think it's got a lot of potential. There's obviously a list in the Japanese Champions League that finished, I want to say, fourth, maybe
Hmm.
third, which was Sceptile in it as well.
Hmm.
I don't want to play it with Sceptile. I just want to play it as a lone executor Shuckle. But that being said, Sceptile is the deck from Lost Thunder that I am 100% in on. Even over Blacephalon, which I think is probably going to be best deck in format. Blacephalon Naganadel, I think it's killed in Japan. I think it's going to continue to kill in Europe and America and things like that. It's just going to be such a good deck. But for me, I'm 100% in on Sceptile, and that's the first deck I'm going after.
Right.
That and Coffee Gregus. But Coffee Gregus, I don't know if he's actually going to be competitively viable. I just think he's a really cool card, and I like the interaction with Giratina that he has. But Sceptile, I think, is going to be really powerful.
I think, if I'm being honest, the one card that I found so infuriating, like I want to burn it, and it was Shuckle GX.
Shuckle GX, man, is just. I love Shuckle GX. I think it's just insane. Um, I th- I mean, that's a deck in its own. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's a colorless Pokemon, so you can take it into whatever deck you like as well, which just adds to the appeal of it, I suppose. But 3 or 4 Shuckle and Hammers and Plumerias and Skull Grunts,
Yeah, it's a troll
and
deck.
just
Just.
whatever you want. Yeah, it's, I
Oh.
think it's really good. I have to say, and I can see myself putting it into decks and kind of using it as a stall tactic against certain decks. Particularly, I think for me, what's really interesting about it as well is if you're playing something like um, Zoroark, which relies heavily on DCE.
Yeah.
Well, Sceptile gets rid of the DCE, and then you throw up Shuckle, and you go, "What are you going to do?" Like there's things like that you can do as well, like cool interactions like that. I think it's a really awesome card.
No.
And it's one that I think I'll be putting in a few decks, just
Um,
trying it out.
I'll be honest. I was a bit gutted I didn't get to try the whole Lost March. I know a couple of
Well,
the guys got the Natus and stuff.
I mean, yeah, that's fair enough, but even that being said, no one pulled enough stuff to actually build a proper Lost March deck in pre-release, and the chances of that actually happening are essentially zero.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if you to play Lost March properly, you need the Hoppips, the Skiplums, the Jumpluffs, and some people were playing a couple of Natu and a couple of Lost Mixer and things like that. So it's sort of like a mini version of it, I guess.
Yeah.
But I think they're going to be pretty easy to get because most of the cards are commons and uncommons. You know what I mean? Like your Jumpluffs are your rares, obviously, so you need maybe a bit harder to get them.
And it's a
But it's
hollow rare as well.
Yeah. So it's going to be a little bit more expensive, perhaps. But I don't see it being difficult to get the pieces you need to build that deck.
Yeah. I did
Um,
actually pull a jump bluff in my prize packs on Sunday. That's the
well,
only
there you go.
reason.
That's something.
That's the only reason. That's the only reason I know it's a hollow.
Yeah.
Um, but no,
No, Lost March is another deck I think is going to be really good. It's got a lot of potential. It scares me that it hasn't done overly well in Japan, I have to say. But I do think it's got a lot of potential to be really good.
But is it that it hasn't done well, or is it just that people aren't playing it because they're too busy playing Blacephalon?
Well, I mean, it got one place. It got one place in the top 32 at the Champions League. I don't know what the spread was. I don't know what the percentage of people playing it were. You might be right that people are just favouring other decks, but if people are favouring other decks, that in itself is an indictment of Lost March.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? My concern of the deck is it's mid to late game. When your Skiplooms and your Hop-Ups are in the discard in the loss zone,
Mm.
and you know your Natus are you're out of DCE for your Natus, and you know and that kind of thing. Like, where does it go?
Yeah.
That's where and you obviously need to commit a lot of Pokemon into the loss zone to actually get the damage ramped up to be one shot and things. Whereas if you think about something like Night March that had Battle Compressor, you
Yeah,
know
and it was only at
you
the
could
discard as well. So worst case
exactly.
scenario, you could always bring them back if you needed to.
Yeah, and I mean, like Night March could do 200 damage in turn one easy. You know, if it got the right cards in the right order, I don't see Lost March be able to do something like that.
Mhm.
It takes a bit longer to set up.
Yeah.
It's going to be super powerful when it does set up, obviously, but you need to be able to stream attackers every turn, and that's where I worry about it a wee bit. So maybe that's part of the reason it's not been as successful in Japan as people might have been expecting. I don't know. I still think it's going to be a great deck, but I've got a few more question marks over that than some of the other ones coming out of this format.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, at least you do play online, so you do obviously have the potential of testing it without having to try and make the deck in real life.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think with a set this big, you have to go down that route. You have to try and find the cards online, and we both know, and so does John, how generous Sam is. If you're listening, Sam, hi, and thank you very much. How generous she is with the codes,
Yeah, absolutely.
when she's buying booster boxes and things like that. So it helps you a lot to find those cards when you've got extra packs to trade, sort of thing. You don't just need to rely on pulling them yourself.
Yeah, speaking of packs, I'm going to save up to 360, and then open 360 packs for our 100 subs. Um,
There you go. So watch this space, guys. When we get to 100, 360 pack opening, you might want to do that in like stages or something, because somebody's not going to sit and watch 4 hours of you opening online packs.
to be fair, I managed to do over 200 in less than an hour.
Fair
So
enough.
I think, see, as long as I don't like sit and try and read all the cards and stuff, like it is literally just a
Mhm.
case of boom, 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 boom. You can, it's
Mhm.
it's easy enough to do it. But
Fair
yeah,
enough.
even if we, like you said, even if I do it in two videos, I could record it in one sitting and then just split it up into two different videos.
Yeah, there's
Um,
plenty of options.
but yeah, I'm actually so excited for it.
Oh,
I'm
that'll be
desperate
awesome.
to do it, but I'm trying so hard not to open any packs, because obviously if I open a pack, it's less of the 360. Sorry, um,
It's hard, man, when they're just sitting there.
I know they're screaming at me to open. So yeah, I'm excited about that. Before we go, is there anything you wanted to talk about?
No, man, I think we've covered the kind of the new cards that we've heard about in the past week. The only thing I would say is obviously no John or Al, and it's just a personal situation for the two of them
Yeah,
that they couldn't be here. So it sucks that we haven't had those guys with us, and that's why part two of the Lost Under set review we've left, because we feel that it would, and when I say we, I mean myself and Jacob, because John said just go ahead and do it anyway. But we feel it would be better to include those guys in it, because there's some cards in there that they've got their own insights on that they're really excited about, and it wouldn't be fair for us to just go through everything and not let them have their say about that. So keep your eyes peeled for the second part of that, hopefully coming up next week, I would imagine.
yeah, because this should be going up this week, so
Yeah.
So I should be going
So
up in a couple of
probably
days.
next week. Assuming we can get everybody together, obviously, in
Yeah.
order to finish that off. But it'll be up just before the set releases, or just after the set releases, with a bit of luck.
Yeah. But no, it's been an absolute pleasure, Ian, and it's quite nice to get a word in edgewise as well.
You need to speak up more. You know
Well,
what John's like.
the both of you, once you get going, that's it. It's gone. Um,
We're passionate. That's all it is.
I know. The thing is, like, I as much as I love Pokemon, like I said earlier, I love the surprise. I love going into a pre-release having no idea what to expect, and then opening up a pack and going, "Oh my god, look, I got this. This does this," and I know you guys like to research it. You like to look forward to it. You like to think of all these different decks that you could potentially make. So it's hard to get involved in conversations when I try and stay away from the information. And
Mm,
obviously you guys have looked into it and you know what it does. You know all the cards that could potentially be good for it. And I'm essentially learning from you. So
mhm.
it's a nice sort of interaction that way. I like to learn about cards through you guys. You've got definitely a
No,
much different outlook to cards than I do. Um
absolutely, and I don't think that's a bad thing in the slightest. There's bound to be people out there who are just like you, who like the surprise, who go and they go for the fun of the experience, and they don't need to know all the cards beforehand.
yeah.
And they'll kind of appreciate that side of things. And of course, there's going to be people like myself and John who will look at every single card in a set and go, right, how can we use that?
Yeah,
You know what I
absolutely.
mean? And but that's the great thing about this game, isn't it? I mean, you can approach it in whatever way it is that you like,
Yeah. It's all about the fun of the game at the end of the day. And the
and
win.
winning.
We said it at the
Great
same
minds.
time. Oh, well, listen, Ian, I hope you have an absolute fabulous evening. And to all the guys listening, thank you so much. I do appreciate it. And we'll catch you soon. Bye.
Thanks, bye.